Welcome to the Build Your Own Language tutorials. During the course of this series, we'll be learning how to define and implement a programming language, taking a step-by-step approach and starting from scratch. So, the number one thing that might pop into your head is why? So, it's 2023. We already have tons and tons of programming languages and frameworks and libraries. There are constellations of these. So why do we even need an extra programming language? It's like reinventing the wheel, right? And one reason could be that you've decided that all available general-purpose programming languages suck and you need to make your own. This is not a very good reason because designing and implementing a full-on general-purpose programming language from scratch is no easy task, and it's probably not very useful unless you want to exercise. So a reason that I do consider legitimate is you want to make your own DSL, your own domain-specific language. Now, the way DSLs differ from general-purpose programming languages is that DSLs are meant to do some specific task very well. So, like HTML, declaring and defining websites, CSS, defining the style of websites, and there are tons of other DSLs that let you do something very specific in some domain. So if you're very passionate about a domain and you want to be able to express yourself better in that domain, you could choose to make your own DSL. Another reason is you just want to practice programming in general, because implementing a programming language is a great programming exercise, in my opinion. It's an exercise in creativity. You can be very creative here. Again, you can make your own DSL for the domain you're interested in. And number 4, it's fun. It's simply fun. So some of the requirements here. Well, I'm gonna assume that you have some basic knowledge of a programming language. JavaScript is a pretty good candidate. You're going to need a Typescript compiler. Now, Typescript is the statically typed superset of JavaScript, and it has static types. So this allows the Typescript compiler to make very good and nail the suggestions that can be presented to you. So it's much more friendly, in my opinion, to the programmer than regular JavaScript, because it allows the editor to show some really serious intelligence and make your life easier and suggest the right thing and tell you where you made a mistake. So yes. The other thing you'll be needing is obviously a JavaScript runtime, so you can use the classic Node, you can use Dino, or you can just use a browser. Of course, you will need a text editor. I recommend VS Codium, which is the open source build of VS Code, and it's pretty good for a bunch of programming languages, a lot of programming languages actually. There's an extension for almost anything you can think of, and it's especially good for TypeScript. Last but not least, this is optional, a version control system such as Git, which allows you to navigate and store previous versions of your source code, kind of like time traveling, like a time machine. So it's really helpful because if you make a mistake now, you can go back to when the error wasn't there and try to figure out what went wrong. So this is definitely recommended. Now, there is an alternative to this setup, which just requires your favorite browser and requires you to navigate to this web page. So this is an online editor and compiler of TypeScript, and it kind of allows you to do everything that the stack I've described here allows you to do offline. It allows you to do it directly in your browser without having to actually manually configure and download everything. So it works. It allows you to, I think it updates automatically when you edit the code. It shows you a preview here of the web page view and the console. You can add new files if you want. You can import, export. You probably need to sign up to be able to store all of the code that you write and access it later. But besides that, it's quite helpful if you don't want to bother downloading everything locally. So yes, in the next video we'll be talking about a concept programming language that we might want to implement. It is going to be a general purpose programming language, but a very incomplete one. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching.